Hello everyone, my name is SaintSyk, and welcome back to Album 2 of the Magia Records, this now being our third track, now catching up with Album 1. Very, very fun. I am so relieved to be done with exam week. January was an insane academic month, because we had assessment week, I had 2 exams, but now I can say goodbye to the first semester, and I can actually lock in. Finally! And what better way to lock in by not doing a main channel track, but instead by doing one for Magia Record. Yes! Yes, I know. He's done it again. I am quite good. So, we're going on to episode 3 of Magia Record, titled... Let me check. Here, keep it rolling. No. Ah, yes. Episode 3 of Magia Record, Sorry for Making You My Friend. Alright, let's dive right in. Previously on Magia Record, McDonald's team was having a bit of lovers' quarrels, you know, that team consisting of Momoko, Rena, and Rem from Ray Zero. They were having a little spat, where at least, you know, Kaide and Rena were, and so that resulted in the greatest plot ever conceived of all history. Rena ended up writing Kaide's name on the friendship-ending staircase, which then trapped her in a genjutsu, I guess, except from the looks of it, it trapped Rena inside of it, and Kaide didn't even notice that it was happening, but that's where we left off, at least. You know, there was a lot of peril going on, there was a big witch, you know, fight that was going to ensue, so going into episode 3, I was expecting some big things, which is why, naturally, to keep the pacing as unconfusing as possible, we got pump faked for, like, probably the first 4 minutes.
Book burnings and burying scholars. Such acts will be infamous for generations to come.
If they're so concerned about losing their precious information, maybe they shouldn't record it on flammable materials, huh?
For the first 4 minutes of this episode, I was actually speechless. Actually, I had quite a lot of things to say, because I was so confused, because I had no idea what was happening. So, all of a sudden, we go to a different trio of characters, and at first, I didn't quite recognize that one of them was Yui, aka not Madoka's little sister. And it took me hearing her voice that made me realize that, which was really ironic because I don't think she had ever spoken prior to this. But upon hearing her voice, we can confirm beyond a shadow of a doubt, she is definitely not Madoka. I mean, hey, what can you do? Now, avoiding all of the peril that was literally just happening, like, last episode, I was so confused, I actually had to go back and check and make sure that I was on episode 3, and that I didn't miss something. But apparently, nope, this is where we're starting. So, welcome, nameless character number 1 and number 2. Not like that there was already 3 other characters that we didn't know the name for. Peak writing has arrived. Let's go. Another hit for Magia Record! Flawless. So it seems that Yui's, like, you know, little friends here are, like, geniuses, like Psyche K or something. They build a little train and then set a bunch of books on fire inside of a hospital, which makes just, like, all sorts of no sense. So, first of all, not only did the hospital staff leave, like, 3 8-year-old girls just completely unattended, but they also left them in a room of 1 billion books and gave them the resources necessary to build a train. Because I know that they didn't find it because they were in a hospital, and also they're 8. Now, the genius friends aside, we just completely go away from that again. So now I'm like twice as lost because we were already going away from what happened last episode, and now we're going away from what's happening this episode. So we're double somewhere else. But we awake to the usual sight of not Madoka waking up in her bedroom. Love that scene. They've only done it 4 times. Beautiful. And we finally actually get back to, you know, what we're familiar with.
Toka and Nemu? They were the friends Ui made in the hospital.
Huh. Guys! It's Momoko! But she has messy hair now, so you can tell that something happened. And then Rena is also there, but she's... when she sees extra moody, she's the normal amount of moody. Anyway, they're going back to the Curator. And the Curator, in last episode, was more referred to as a place. Or I mean that literally, because when Not Madoka woke up and said, "Where am I?" she said,
Supposed to do now? I mean, we brought her to the coordinator.
We're at the coordinators. Hey, coordinator!
Mitama Yakumo, the coordinator here.
"You're in the Curator." But now it actually turns out that the Oh. Ugh. W. So now it actually turns out that the Curator is a person, and not just the place. Or is the person named after the place? Is the place named after the person? Anyway, welcome another character, the Curator. We are introducing so many characters so fast, and it's only episode 3, bro. We have we have almost double the amount of characters that Madoka Magica, main cast has, and it's been 3 episodes. We're going at quite a pace here. Anyway, so the Curator is doing her thing, getting freaky, apparently. She's a little strange. Anyway, every time that they just called her the Curator, I physically couldn't think of anything else but the guy from Expedition 33. Because it's literally the same name, and also I've been recently watching my friend play through all the game. Beautiful game, by the way. Love. They deserved all the rewards. They deserved it all. I'm telling you right now. It was absolute cinema. Anyway, glaze aside. The Curator is aligning soul gems, which has a very weird process. I'm pretty sure she quite literally just says the line, "I'm going to touch your soul gem now."
I'm going to reach out and touch your soul gem.
What?
And then she just reaches out. Oh, here, wait a minute. And then she just reaches out to go and touch it. And I'm as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about this, and I'm didn't the last time someone got their soul gem touched, they fell to their knees and started dying? But this time, instead, when she reached out and touched the soul gem, the girl that she did it to just threw her head back and moaned. Who's writing this show, dude? What is happening? Anyway, this is the Curator. That's the only name we know her by.
Mitama Yakumo, the coordinator here.
And the only other defining feature of hers is that she has jiggle physics. Magia Records is very different. You can tell it was definitely handled by a different type of animators, just by Momoko's design alone. Anyway, I actually quite like the look of the Curator. I think she looks, distinct and cool. I like a lot of the character designs, but I'll kind of talk about the character designs later in the episode when all of them are more together. But she looks pretty cool so far. The thing that's the most interesting about the Curator, however, is actually she has a list, and this list features her, patience. But next to it is, brackets. Here, wait a minute. Let me move over so I can put this up on the green screen. She has brackets on her, chart here. And, as an Exedra fan myself, somebody who was in the top 2,000 of raids, and, the top 50 in PvP, I instantly recognized and made this out, and I was like, that's the elements. That's the character elements. There's the water, there's fire, light, earth. I think it's just called forest. It's earth, man. Come on. And then there's, light, dark, void. The void one is weird, but hey, at least they didn't pull it out of nowhere. At least they stayed consistent. So this is showing yet again that Magia Records is tied from a game, and there are, little subtle details back to it. I see you. They think I don't see it, but I do see it. I see it all the time. Now, a lot of times in this episode, actually, there was kind of specification on elements. Like, there was kind of a heavy detail on them, which is a bit of a pivot from Madoka Magica, because I'm going to tell you right now, in Madoka Magica, I really seriously think that elements were, like, not even a thing. That was not written into the show. Like, when we were in Madoka Magica, Gen Urobuchi did not write it and be like, yeah, so, basically, like, Kyoko's fire and all that. You know what? You know what I should do? I should actually redo that scene. But I should put, like, some, like, just, like, random, like, text-to-speech Japanese to have it say that, like I do with, like, Sayaka. I'm so doing that.
つまり、基本的には京子は人かそういう感じですね。
That's so funny. Holy off book. Holy off book. Okay, so now that we're actually, you know, on track out here with the Magia Records and my notes, and I'm not just freestyling this all. Although, hey! That was a pretty good freestyle. Now that we're actually on the notes here, starting out the gate, one thing I have to hand Magia Xedra is their visuals. These graphics though. Like, I've never really been like a stickler for like graphics. I don't really care about how graphics look in video games. I don't really care about how graphics look in my anime. You know, as long as it's like good, I'm fine with it, man. Like, I do not have a good example of this, but graphics just aren't that important to me personally. But whenever I tune on an episode of Magia Xedra and I look around and I see these overgrown cities and this dusk lighting and these good like color palettes, I'm like, ooh, that is kind of nice though. Madoka Magica had a very distinct art style, and they used it in very creative ways, and I'm glad to see that they still do that, because I like that. I look at it and ooh, that's nice. Ooh. Now, back to the curator. The curator says that she's going to potentially schedule in Madoka for an alignment. Now, a soul gem alignment is what I can only assume is essentially like going to the chiropractor, but for magical girls. They say it does a lot, but it probably really doesn't. They kind of hype it up and say that it unlocks, like, special abilities, and they actually say that it is so pivotal that it is the reason why the magical girls inside of Kamihama City are actually able to fight the stronger witches. Which is why, naturally, they only talk about Madoka getting it, but she doesn't actually get it. My god. Now, as Momoko is getting ready for battle, getting her hair brushed, our favorite edgelord walks in. No, not Homura. It's Nanami. I don't remember what her first name is, which is funny because that's the name that they call her by. I just know that she had Nanami in her name, and I can remember that one because of JJK. And also, for the longest time, she was my DPS until, well, I actually, funny enough, kind of switched to Momoko. Very fitting! Very episode fitting! Now, anyway, Nanami pulls up, and I just have to say, she pulls up with presence. Hater presence.
However,
Yes?
if you remain as weak as you are now, she will not be the last sacrificed for the sake of your goal. Don't ever forget that.
So, like, she walks into scene, dials in on not Madoka, right? And just starts hating. Just actual hate maxing. Which is like, I really couldn't understand that at all. Because previous to this, they had one interaction, and granted, it wasn't the best, and she was like, yeah, don't come here again. But like, come on, man, it wasn't even her fault. Like, at least hear her out. And then my favorite part of this is, I don't know why, but Nanami seems to blame not Madoka for the fact that Kaede got kidnapped. When, like, literally, the person who caused it is sitting 3 feet away. Rena is right there, bro. she was the one who wrote the name on the stair. Like, she literally caused all of this, and not Madoka had zero involvement whatsoever, but Nanami is just, like, gunning at her. She's just, I can't believe you did that. Do you know how many people are gonna get hurt because of you?
If you remain as weak as you are now, she will not be the last sacrificed for the sake of your goal.
And I can't remember who says this. It's either Momoko or the curator, but they're like, why are you so mean? Do magical girls who are weaker than you just like piss you off or something? And Nanami just says yes. What? I was expecting, like, because obviously that's not a good thing, so it was like a diss on her, and she was gonna be like, it's not that. I just don't like people endangering the well-being of others, right? You know, an actually, like, good, like, justified reason. But no, Nanami just sits there, stands on business, and just goes, yes.
So you consider any magical girl who's weaker than you to be a nuisance?
I do.
I don't like you because you're weaker. Who is this? I feel, oh my god, that was so goofy. I can't. It literally wasn't even her fault too. Like, who informed you? Whatever. So yeah, not Madoka's getting blamed right now, and not Madoka needs to like lock in, or else Nanami is, I don't know, gonna tell her parents. Like, what is she even gonna do? She just doesn't like her all of a sudden. So all right, nice. Now, jiggle physics and goon outro aside, the curator has very little involvement in this episode. I feel like she's just kind of here so that when she shows up later and is important, you'll at least have been able to be like, oh yeah, she was in that one episode. Remember her. Expedition 33. Anyway. Dude, I write legendary notes. I'm looking over my notes so that I know how to pace the video. And it just says, are we stupid? It wasn't Madoka's fault. That's exact. It just says, are we stupid? Okay, so the team is getting back in it. And we arrive to the mythical friendship ending staircase. I may have to search up in post if this is based off of like some sort of real rumor, because if it isn't, and this is like an 100% like original little fairy tale that they got going on, then man, I gotta hand it to the writers, because this plot is really, really silly to me. So there is a staircase in the middle school. You write a name on the 6th and 7th step, and if you apologize, you are forced to clean forever. And they say Shakespeare is dead. And they say, oh, like, this writing is fire! So they arrive at the staircase, and they're obviously trying to get Kaine back. Kaide back. Kaine, very different character. Kaide, D. It's like the bunny girl senpai, little sister. Very different. So they go to the top of the roof, and we actually get some proper transformations. And I don't really know. Okay, there's a lot of things that there's one big question that's constantly ringing in my mind. Is Magia Xedra?
Hey everyone, Editing Saint here. To address the elephant in the room, yes, I am calling Magia Record, Magia, etc. this whole track. Yes, I am calling the coordinator, the curator, the whole track. Why, you may ask? I have no idea. Genuinely, I don't know why I did that. But no, every time I say Magia, etc., 9 times out of 10, I mean Record. I just genuinely don't know why I have them twisted.
There's a lot of things that there's one big question that's constantly ringing in my mind. Is Magia Xedra waiting to like do their like kind of like dark twist, right? Because in Madoka Magica, like it starts with the illusion of being like really happy and cheerful. And then once it twists, then it gets dark, it'll twist again, dark, twist, 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 right? After each like big pivotal moment, it gets like darker and heavier. And you know, like the concepts get like so like it's freaky, it's terrifying, it's heart-wrenching, right? Where do we stand right now in Magia Etc.? Has the scale like reset? Like, are we still trying to like feign innocence here? Because some of these scenes make me think that that's possible. Because okay, so far nothing dark has really happened, but it is only episode 3, so it's not like I'm harping on them for that. But I'm wondering if they're trying to like do the same thing again. Because if they are, that literally makes no sense. So, nothing really abstract or dark has really happened. And with a lot of these scenes and how, like, almost, like filler they can feel, like, with not a lot really happening, it kind of makes me think that they're trying to, like, stay on, like, you know, like, the good path right now. You know, they're trying to make it still seem like it's all like, oh, cheery, happy, happy. But it doesn't make any sense, because if you're watching Magia Etc., you've watched all of Madoka Magica. There's just literally no way that you haven't. So, like, you would have that prior knowledge that it's a dark show. So, why they're, like, restarting is really weird. But, I mean, like, hey, look at how cool this animation was, man. Oh, look at these transformations, though. Okay. We got the Infinite Rain. Oh, wait, no. What was it called? Something Rain. Yeah, future SaintSyk will remember that. We got Something Rain. We have Infinite Poseidon. The Universe's Edge. Like, look at all these transformations. These are cool. They're slick. They didn't have this until Rebellion. Look at that. Like, this was in Rebellion, and now it's here again. That's slick, though. That's slick. I thought they were really cool, honestly. All the transformations, very, very good. Very, very good. And I also think, like, yet again, okay, here's what I was getting at. The elements. Now, elements in Madoka Magica never mattered. Like, to be honest, I don't even really think they were a thing. Like, if you were to tell me that in Madoka Magica, everyone had the element that they correspond to in the game, I'd be like, no. Because there's really no evidence to support that. And also, it just wouldn't have mattered. But now, there is, in this episode, indefinitely an importance to element. And the way I can tell is because of the 2 water elements that we actually have here. That being Nanami and Retta. When I looked at their soul gems, and also the girl earlier, who was also an aqua soul gem, you know, they're all blue. But then I realized they're all kind of connected to Sayaka. Now, Nanami has a crescent moon soul gem. Exactly the same as Sayaka. And then Rena has a music soul gem, which, I mean, come on, that also relates to Sayaka. Music, that's like her second most, like, identifiable thing. So now there's connections forming in these elements that clearly weren't even here before. So we have the moon, which I would understand why that connects with water, because I mean, if you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, you'd get it, but let me explain it to you. Let me just mansplain it for you. The moon is what makes the waves, right? The moon, like, the gravity from the moon helps keep, like, all the water in the world, like, kind of in order. So I understand why a crescent moon would have to do with, like, aqua and water. I get that. But it's the music note. The music note, that's the one where I'm like, hey, that just has to be a direct call to Sayaka. I feel like it has to be. Because now you can really dial in that connection. Because it's the same crescent moon, now it's music, and it's all water. So it's like all of these things, I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, Like, 2 is a pattern, and 3? Now we got a track on our hands. Okay. Now we're cooking with something. So after we all get fitted up, we get what... This is really funny, I had to rewind this. So, Momoko gives Nanami an apology, but it was done so badly that I had to wonder if the VA was just like actually just selling, or if it was really disingenuous. It was just disingenuous. They were just forcing it, so the VA was good. No shade on the VA. So, Nanami and Momoko try forcing an apology so that the chains witch, you know, the witch in the staircase that took Kaide, will come back, which I don't know why they thought that would work. With the like sort of rules they've set in place earlier on how this works, I have no idea why they thought that would work. That, like, there's literally no reason why that should have worked, and it didn't. So. Now, Rena states the obvious, where it's like, it has to be me. No, I feel like I could have told you that, to be honest. And so, she goes on a rant that I literally had to rewind 4 times. I rewound this rant 4 times because she was saying so many words, but not a lot of sentences.
Words in my mouth. Oh, you... Why are you talking to me like I'm garbage? I want Kaide to come back, I really do. Because if she doesn't, then I become even more of the bad guy.
If that makes sense. Like, she was saying things, but they weren't really, like, clicking. So, Rena goes on a long rant about how she super hates Kaide, which I feel like later completely revokes, but... Character arcs, man, these things are confusing. I gotta stand for this. I gotta stand for this. Because this scene was so something, at least. So, Rena goes on a rant about how... I have to look at my notes. It was really confusing how they worded it. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Their transformations were like their ults. I think I kind of mentioned that, but... Oh, there's another page. Ah, yes, here it is. So, Rena goes on a speech that she really hates Kaide. Because Kaide is really nice, she always apologizes, and because of her kind and, you know, Rem-like demeanor, it always makes her feel... guilty? There was low-key kind of layers to her reasoning, but they went over it really fast, so I can only infer a lot of things because, like, one line would carry out a completely different reason. So, for example, one of Rena's reasons for hating Kaide was the fact that she would hide behind Momoko, and Momoko would protect her. Now, I knew that this wasn't she felt that she hated her because they were ganging up on her. I think it was because she was jealous? And later, I actually think that I was right in making that inference. That she was jealous of the relationship that Momoko and Kaide had. Which is a bit strange. Not in the sense that I don't understand how she could develop that sort of want, but I feel she should have acknowledged that the reason she didn't have that same connection was because of herself. Holy headset. Lock in. Alright, we're back. Because of herself. But I digress, you know. Who am I to pick apart the statements of a girl in woes? So, this ends up working and summons the Chains Witch from the damned staircase. Ooh, ooh, the 6 and 7 stairs. Very scary. And so they get trapped in what I can literally only describe as the ending of Evangelion. Like, when I was sitting there watching this, I was like, Are we Evangelion?
Obviously not.
And then as it
right?
kept going, I was like,
Why
alright,
would
we're
you?
Evangelion. Which is very funny, because in an interview, Gen Urobuchi once stated that he always thought that his show was inferior to Evangelion and Lane, which... no comment, really. But, I like to see that they were clearly drawing some good inspiration from, you know, a show that was near and dear to Gen Urobuchi's heart, which I think was a great touch. That was a great touch. That was nice. I like that.
Too.
I wish I could change too.
So then, why is it so hard?
Even though Kyubei supposedly made my wish come true. Rena's a horrible friend. I hate her.
I hate me more than anything!
So after going through this big, like, psychological sequence, we can see that Rena likes pop idols. I don't really know the importance of that one. Maybe we'll get a character arc on that later. But when she gets sad, she transforms into Momoko, confirming what I thought earlier. Clearly, Rena sort of looks up to Momoko, or just really enjoys her friendship. Opposite to her relationship with Kaide, where she always feels like sort of a villain, because she feels she gets so angry with her, and she always apologizes first when she should, but her pride is not allowing her to do that. Sort of creating this, like, victim, like, kind of relationship they have going on, where it's very unhealthy, very toxic. And then the actual death of subtlety unravels right before us, where we get the beautiful line from Rena. Because I was sitting here and I was like, oh wow, clearly all of her toxic emotions and this proud feeling she's always carried with her has resulted in, you know, penalizing meaningful relationships that she's trying to form, and she's pushing people away due to her toxic traits. Clearly, she might struggle with, and, you know, loving herself. But then the death of subtlety just happens, and she just says, I hate myself.
I hate me more than anything!
Bravo. 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 Beautiful. Beautiful. I love when my job gets absolutely shattered for me. You know, people watch this channel so that they can listen to a guy who's an honor student with top-tier media literacy pick apart the emotional and confusing scenes. You know, connect the dots in the vast world of Madoka Magica. And I love when absolutely all of that is completely tore down because the character just directly states what's going on. The death of subtlety, everyone. Yes! And I'm the king of knowing what subtlety is, because I watched Pyrocynical's video on Utopia. So I have like a degree in subtlety. And so Not Madoka naturally has to bear witness to all of this, because she's the main character, I guess. She like gets trapped in like the subconscious of Rena for like a few seconds. Then the illusion breaks after that little Evangelion sequence. And look guys! It's Kaide! And she is perfectly, completely fine. Like nothing even happened. What? So she got taken by this witch and was left there for an entire day inside the labyrinth. And like, it kind of just looks like nothing happened. I mean, it did say in the rumor that it just forces you to clean, so maybe, like, she just served that entire morning just, like, washing dishes. Like literally nothing was wrong with her. And then Kaide goes on an immaculate speech where she points out all of Rena's toxic behaviors and, you know, like, bad character traits, you know, her, like, not good qualities. And she basically just kind of says, even though you are a really, like, bad person for me to be friends with, and you really don't have a lot of redeeming qualities, It just wouldn't feel right for us to not be friends.
Listen, you're headstrong and selfish. You're short-fused and you can get so shy. But I've been thinking, that's all okay, Brenna. You should keep being you. There's nothing wrong with our friendship being exactly how it is. The two of us not being friends anymore, that would just feel wrong.
And Rena just kind of agrees with this. What are we doing? So, first off, Rena acknowledges that she does not like her relationship with Kaede, because it's kind of causing her to hate herself, because they can't really work together well. And then Kaede acknowledges all of the bad things that Rena does. She lists them. She lists them in one sentence. She's like, you're quick to anger, you're very combative, you run away when things get bad. Like, she's just listing everything that's toxic about their relationship, and then both of them just, like, mutually agree. But you're still my homie, though, you know? You know? Like, low-key, you make me hate myself every day. But you know what? We still gotta be friends, yo. Because you know what? The McDonald's team doesn't back down. We can't abandon the primary color scheme so that all of the current 5 characters are imitating the previous Madoka roster. We need you! What?! So after making both of these characters like as two-dimensional as possible, in a literal sense as well because of the Evangelion art style, Momoko and Nanami like chop the bell off, and then to like really symbolize that they've made up as friends, Rena and Kaede do like a team attack together, and they defeat the witch. Which I have to, like, I feel like so much is happening, but also literally nothing has happened at the same time. Right? Like so much has been happening, but I also feel like nothing has happened. So then we did it. We did it. 250,000 subs. Ugh. So I'm not redoing that. And so we have Kaede back, and she's perfectly safe, perfectly fine, and then I can't let this scene is so chopped. Oh my god. And then Rena attempts an apology, to say the very least.
I might be at fault here. For kinda most of it.
Yes?
Mm-hmm. You're just gonna agree with that? Anyway, I apologize.
Okay, alright.
So, I want you to continue to be my friend.
Yes, okay. Okay, yes.
Continue to be. I want you to be my friend. To be my servant.
What? What? Rena, there's literally no way that was your line. What? What? Run that back?
Be my servant.
How was that possibly intentional?
Do you want to be my girlfriend? Do you want to be my... Okay, you know what? I got this. Hey, listen, do you want to be my big sweaty guardian alpha boyfriend? What? Who said that? No witnesses. Oh, God, that was embarrassing. Ooh.
And then Kaede just, like, accepts that.
I feel the same.
Like, she just takes it like a good girl. Just sees nothing wrong with that. Rena, there's no way that was your line, bro. Like she inserted that herself, and then the horny producers, the Gunnar producers, they just, like, let that roll in. Because they were like, yep, that fits. This is so peak. It's so peak. Oh my god. So, you know, that was nothing short of euphoric, to say the least. And then, where do we even go here? Evangelion, transforming Momoko and Sad. Oh, right. This happened, like, so, like, unceremoniously. I almost forgot about it. The baby Kyubey comes back. But, Madoka has a very, very toned down reaction that she did last time. Like, last time, she kind of assumed that this, like, baby Kyubey was going to be, like, the center of everything. Like, she was like, this is the lead that is going to take me to my sister. And then he shows up this time, and she's like, just... She doesn't even say anything. She hardly acknowledges that he's there. She's just... Like, it crawls on his shoulder, on her shoulder, and she just, like, kind of shrugs it off. Whatever! Now, Rena actually uses her Excedra ult, which is really cool because she finally used the mirrors. She also used the mirrors inside of her transformation, which, like, slick. Slick animation. It was slick. I like it when it's slick. And then when they beat the witch, I noticed this, like, instantly, the, like, victory kind of song that they had playing. It kind of sounds like when you, like, win a fight in Excedra. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show either of those songs because they might be copyrighted, but if they're not, I will play both of the songs right now if they're not copyrighted, and you'll hear that they are very similar. And then they might be copyrighted, and then I just cut all of this out of the video. We finally learned the name of Yui's friends. Their names are Toka and Mimu. I have absolutely no doubt that they are going to show up later, but I really don't think they're going to be that important. Call me crazy, but there's a lot of characters that we're going to have to be introduced to, because if Excedra is anything to go off of, there's a lot of magical girls in this. But I really do like the visuals, at least. And then the episode ends. Yeah, you just heard me. The episode ends. Like, what really happened? Like, I feel like so much happened, but also nothing happened. Like, I can just recap this all right now. So, we started with Yui and her friends, and then we go to Madoka, and they meet the Curator in the Curator, and she talks about Soul Gem alignment, and clearly elements are important now. Then they go to save Kaede, and Rena has to confront that she's not a good friend, and she hates herself, but despite that, she's just gonna be friends with Kaede anyway. And then, that's it. The episode just kinda ends. Nanami leaves off like a cryptic, like, Aura Farm, like, one-liner, where she, like, stands up and she says to Momoko, you know, that wasn't a witch.
Cautious.
It didn't
Something
drop
strange
a
is happening
grief
in
seed, and
Kamihama.
not only that, but it didn't even have the magical presence of a witch either. And then she does, like, the Homura thing, where she goes and stands on a ledge, and then just, like, lets her, like, hair blow in the wind, except she has, like, that thing on, so that just blows in the wind. Because, yeah, and then she was like, have you ever heard of a witch that has rules? Which, like, I also thought was weird. I was like, oh, yeah, that just might be a new thing. Turns out it just wasn't a witch. Well, allegedly, anyway. And, yeah, that's about it. I watched the outro again. Nothing different. But, again, another clear fixation on elements. Because it is very, very evident that Nanami and Rena are water. They are water, water, water. Because, oh, it's absolute rain. I got it! Ding! So, anyway, Nanami's ult is called Absolute Rain. Her transformation has to do with rain. The outro, she's in water, she's in rain. Water, 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 water. Rena, same thing. She's falling through these mirrors and there's like a water effect. Her ult is called Infinite Poseidon. Water, 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 water. And so there's a lot of relation. In Madoka Magica, there was none of this. Yes, Sayaka was related to water, but that was for, like, a completely different reason. That was because of symbolism, right? And, like, all those juicy, you know, funny words that, like, all the, you know, media literate people like to throw. Irony, foreshadowing. whatever the other words are. I'm sure, you know, future SaintSyk, the one who's editing this video right now, will pull up like a list of them and show the one that he's actually meaning to say, but I can't really think of right now. Anyway, it was symbolic, right? Sayaka was associated with water, not because, you know, she had like water breathing from Demon Slayer. She was associated with water because of Octavia, which is her witch form, and also the story of the Little Mermaid. There was real, non-real reasons why she was associated with water. It wasn't just because, like, La Powers and the La Soul Gem, right? But now it seems there's like direct correlation with elements in magic. Maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't. I don't know. We're gonna have to see. Nothing too remarkable from the outro, although I think I did notice that, like, so there's a scene where she's like in an elevator with a chair. Didn't Solo Leveling have that as well? I literally could actually be crazy right now, but I swear Solo Leveling had like a scene where Jinwoo's like in an elevator, he's like pacing around. Oh wait, I have a chair! Right, he's like in an elevator, he's like pacing around this chair, you know, and then it like does like cuts where it's like here and there. I don't actually know if he ever sits on the chair though. And I swear like the same thing is happening in this outro. So I'm gonna compare those. I'm gonna look and see if I'm not crazy. If those are the same, Solo Leveling, how could you shamelessly stole from Madoka Magica? Really? You won Anime of the Year. You wouldn't have been able to without our help. You wouldn't have been able to. You know what? I am officially revoking your award. So, I mean, yeah, just kind of a sudden ending. Not much to say more than that.
I really do appreciate you coming, Mommy Tomoe.
Holy crap, no way. It would have been like a lot funnier if I had like 50 people here for this all of a sudden. That would have... It would have been a lot more hype if, like, me and, like, 12, like, other people were all freaking out about... You know what? I have an idea. Yeah! Now the gang's all here! Now we can be hype! This is exactly like that one scene in SpongeBob where he's sitting inside and he's talking to, like, the potato chip, the napkin, and the penny. This is... Indoors! Oh, the great indoors! Indoors! You see, we got the gang here. What else do you need? Look, we have Sayaka in the back. We can be hyped for this thing. Oh yeah! This might be top 10 SaintSyk bits of all time. So literally out of nowhere, and I have to say, I literally could not have expected this. This was insane to happen. The outro concludes. And just all of a sudden, Mommy is here. It's how many episodes deep are we? Dude, it's episode 3. It's episode 3, and Mommy just appears. I was actually speechless. Like, I can't fake it too much. I knew that, like, the main Madoka cast was going to come eventually. I knew they were. But, okay, there are 3 seasons! 3 seasons! You're telling me they needed to pull out, like, one of the most beloved characters in the 3rd episode? Like, were the ratings for episode 1 and 2 that bad, man? Were the bills that high? There's no way. So, Mommy comes out of absolutely nowhere. And to say I was just flabbergasted beyond belief is an understatement. Like, audibly, I just went, there's no way. Because, like, it's Mommy. She's just here. What, huh? Come to think of it, I don't even think there was an intro in this episode. No, there wasn't. Okay, weird. So yeah, Mommy's here now, and so is Kyubey. But then Kyubey unveils something really interesting. He can't go into Mitakihara City. When he goes into Mitakihara City, he dies. And that's when I realized, hold on, there's starting to be layers to this. So Kyubey unveils that somebody is gathering witches to Kamihama City, and that they're stockpiling grief seeds. I'm not gonna lie. Top 10 lies of all time. Instantly, I'm just thinking this is bait. I'm like, there's no way. I'm thinking... like, I made an entire video called Snake in the Garden, basically dismantling that every single word ever ushered by Kyubey was a lie. I'm not about to start believing him right now. Especially when he's talking to Mommy. So, Mommy helps him back up, you know, like, picks him up. I just realized I have a real one. Right? Picks him up. And so what that tells me right away is that Kyubey and Mommy are still friends. They're like on good terms right now. And so that clearly means that this is like Mommy not knowing the truth. So this isn't like modern Mommy. This is almost past Mommy. So now I'm starting to wonder, when are we? Because I don't know when we are now. Because this version of Mommy, the one who's still friends with Kyubey, can't possibly be the version of Mommy who knows the truth. So now there really are layers. And I think they had to put Mommy as like a post-credit scene because this was a really weak episode. It really was. Like I said, so much happened, but it also felt like nothing happened. Because like, I mean, just nothing really happened. The death of subtlety happened, I'll tell you that. The curator had jiggle physics, I'll tell you that. Oh wait, what did I talk about? I just remembered, I want to talk about character design. Look at character design. Character design is very important, you know? Look at how iconic these character designs are, you know? Very easily distinguishable. The character designs in Madoka Magica, or in Magia Record, are very, very hit or miss. Not Madoka's one friend, miss. Nanami, hit. I would also say that, Rena, I like her design a lot. I really think her design's good. But then, like, Kaide and Momoko are just not it, bro. Momoko's design especially. I don't think I could, like, rant enough how much I don't like Momoko's design. Because it's, like, actual just, like, pure, like, goon bait. Like, no matter what angle you're looking at Momoko, you can always tell that, like, the animators specifically, like, drew the curvature of her butt cheeks. So it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And then naturally, we have to end off with another piece of, like, Gooner art, but it's of the curator, who is already, like, the ghost, like, the lord of the goon at this point. That's basically the only thing I know about her is she's just kind of freaky core. Why is this the ending? Go back to when we had Pop Team Epic. That was cool. They do that on the Twitter for Magia Records. Holy Twitter mention. X? Do I call it X now? What do people call it in the modern age? What do people who use Twitter call? Are they Twitterers? Twitterers? Twitterers. Twitterers. Sound like Jinxie when I say that. Now like a Redditor. It's Redditor. You use Reddit, you're a Redditor. What's it if you use Twitter? You Twitterer? You Twitterer? X? You an Xer? There's no way it's that. Hell if I know. So, episode 3. It had me, it lost, like, it had me. Kinda lost me. Then it had me. And now, I'm excited for episode 4. So welcome back to album 2 of the Magia Records. And welcome to me no longer having to do my essay, or my exams. So we will actually be dialed in. So this is me and the team really just thinking about how, yet again, no one knows our record. Is it ending?